Welcome into the rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world, the iHeartRadio app. My name is Rob Sanders. Thanks for joining me today. Jam-packed show for you as we've got a lot to get into today. Of course, we've got the national championship game tonight. We're going to take your calls on that, score predictions. We got all of that for you today here on the rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Of course, around the world on the iHeartRadio app. As we're dealing with the Black Monday in the NFL, we may get into some of that too, but also absolutely great football game last night. So there's that. We can definitely talk about that with the Chargers and who was it? There was the Chargers and the Raiders. So yeah, there's that. If you want to get into that, but we got to talk about the national championship game tonight, and a very interesting matchup. We've already seen this matchup once, but we'll take your calls about it at 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That is the number to call if you'd like to join us here on the rundown this afternoon, here on Fox Sports Radio 1400, of course, around the world on the iHeartRadio app, as we get rolling here today. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. If you'd like to join us on the program as we get ourselves squared away here, and we get you moving here on the rundown this afternoon here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Of course, you're welcome to join us here on the program at 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That is the number to call if you'd like to join us today as we get set up here for the national championship game. And lots of things to think about with this game. I've got stats for you that we'll go over here shortly, and we'll get into that. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. If you'd like to join us here on the program this afternoon on Fox Sports Radio 1400, of course, around the world on the iHeartRadio app. You're welcome to join the program, 803-978-1832. So let's get into the matchup tonight. What do you think it's going to take for Georgia to win? What do you think it's going to take for Alabama to win? Several different matchups there that are interesting. I think we give Alabama the edge at quarterback and head coach. I think after that, though, it's almost like a wash. I like Anderson a lot with Alabama, but we shall see. Alan says it's a miracle. You need a miracle. Okay. I don't think it's that far-fetched. Look, we goof about Georgia, but they have a good football team. They do a lot of things really well. You can make an argument that it's just a mental thing is why they can't beat Alabama. Could be that. Now, some folks are telling me that it could be an issue of the quarterback situation. And I've got some notes on that, and we'll get into that momentarily as I left my notes on the printer. So after the break, we will come back with some notes on that. So there's definitely that. We'll get into that, some interesting notes about Stetson Bennett and how, he's earned his spot. I think there's a section of the Georgia fan base that wants nothing more than JT Daniels to trot out there tonight against Alabama because they've seen this story before. Yeah, Bennett hasn't really played well against Alabama, but in reality, most quarterbacks don't play well against Alabama. But is it going to fall on Bennett? Because if your team is set up correctly, the way to beat Alabama is to run the ball in theory. If you're able to run the ball and hit the quarterback for Alabama, you can beat them. That's how people have done it before. 803-978-1832, 1-832-803-978, 1-832. That is the number to call if you'd like to join us here on the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Of course, around the world on the iHeartRadio app. As we get set up for the national championship game tonight, Georgia's like a 2.5-point favorite. So there's that. They were a 1-point underdog to start. Now they're a 2.5-point favorite. So Georgia making themselves a favorite in this matchup, or Vegas has made them a favorite in this matchup. And, you can't really, in theory, you've got a Georgia team that has won pretty much everything this season, just can't beat Alabama. Let's go out to the phones. Welcome into the Rundown. Good afternoon.
Hey, Rob, this is Bob, your actual Missouri fan, talking to you.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Yeah. Hey, got my little thoughts on the national championship game tonight.
Sure.
My thing is that Stetson Bennett, he had his one good game against Michigan, and he's going to flounder really bad against Alabama. I've noticed that about Stetson Bennett. He'll have one really great game, then he'll have one really crappy game, one great game. And plus, for some reason, Georgia just can't beat Alabama, which you're talking about. It's got to be a mental thing with them.
Yeah, I can agree with you on that. And it's almost like fighting your big brother. I guess that's kind of the best way to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's that. You're fighting your big brother, and you finally, you've worked out really hard, and you catch him on that day, and then you knock him out. That's what Georgia's hoping for.
Exactly. I could not agree with you more. I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, yes, we can all sit around and talk about it, and the bookies can talk about it on paper, but we're going to see what happens tonight. But I just don't think Georgia will get it done because they just can't beat Alabama.
Do you have a final score prediction?
I'm going to go Alabama 28, Georgia 25.
There you go.
And Georgia will probably be leading in the fourth quarter, and then they'll cough it up.
Oof.
It's in typical Georgia fashion against Alabama. But hey, I might be surprised. Who knows?
I heard one thing, since you are a Mizzou fan. Did you hear about the Denver coach who is now fired that pretty much ripped Drew Lock, the former Mizzou quarterback, and they asked him about the difference between his team and the rest of the teams in the AFC West. He goes, "Well, they've got top shelf quarterbacks." What a shot at Drew Lock! What an idiot Fangio is.
Yeah, I mean, Drew Lock is probably I'm speaking as a big fan of Drew Lock. I mean, if you looked at the years that Drew Lock was there at Mizzou, I mean, if Drew Lock wouldn't have been there, Mizzou would have been an incredibly rotten team. And the only reason that Barry Odom even looked somewhat good as head coach is he had Drew Lock at quarterback.
That's true.
So, I mean, yes, I think that Drew Lock is, obviously great college quarterbacks do not always translate to great NFL quarterbacks. But I do think Drew Lock has a lot of the tools that the NFL is looking for, the size, the arm. He's got kind of quick feet. He's not a runner, although he did have that running touchdown there against Kansas City. So, but I do think Drew Lock in the proper system will probably be a good quarterback. I mean, this might be me saying, people say, "Oh, you're crazy," but Drew Lock kind of reminds me of what a young Tom Brady was. Had that size, had a good arm, looked like he had a good head on his shoulders. But, obviously Tom Brady is the Hall of Famer and the GOAT. So we'll see.
Yeah, there you go with that. Interesting stuff there from our folks from the Mizzou, man. Thanks so much for joining the program. We appreciate it.
All right. Thanks a lot, Rob. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
Yeah, man. And he's got Alabama winning 28-25, Georgia coughing it up late. Blake had a good comment on there about Gene Chizik. Gene Chizik was named as a USFL head coach. He was going to take the reins of the Birmingham Stallions. So basically, he was going to be the head coach of the Stallions, but then now he's going to run the defense for North Carolina. Interesting, to say the least. I know people were all out and about buying their Birmingham Stallions stuff. I mean, the USFL already has their first guy that says, nope, I'm not doing it. Not doing it. All right, 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That is the number to call if you'd like to join us here on the rundown. Alan says Missouri was a great battleship in World War II. Oh, Alan. Poor Alan. Bible Belt Beauties is giving me some greater than, less than, or equal to stuff over there. He says for quarterback, he's got Young is better than Bennett. I agree. For coaches, he's got Saban is better than Smart. I agree. Anybody want to debate those with Bible Belt Beauty, please call in 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That is the number to call if you'd like to join us here on the rundown. On Fox Sports Radio 1400, of course, around the world on the iHeart Radio app. I sold my fandom last night on my my podcast with my buddy Carolina Jackpot for the money that we raised from Super Chats. We are I'm donating it to charity, to the NICU, for pediatric NICU is where the money's going to go. So I have sold my fandom to the Alabama folks tonight. So I will be hoping that Alabama wins. They want me to say Roll Tide. So Roll Tide for Bama. There we go. Let's go out to the phones. Welcome into the rundown. Good afternoon.
Hey, Rob, we're just hours away from the butt whipping that Alabama is going to put on Georgia tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. I look, and I said this at the beginning of the season. Through the regular season, Georgia was the better team. Now, of course, if Georgia wins tonight, I will come on tomorrow. One thing on this program that I don't argue with hardware. If Georgia wins tonight, they won the national title. They're the best team in the country, and they'll get the respect that they deserve. But they got to climb that mountain first. You can't just sit here and expect people to believe, oh, we won the recruiting national championship. We got all these guys going to the NFL. All that's great. You hadn't won a national championship since 1980. You're not a national championship program. Not in the HD era. We can actually see things on the field where it doesn't look like Pong. All right. So that's what Georgia's battling tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be a big uphill battle. I mean, when you look at Alabama and you look at the offense they have, it's just better than Georgia's. It's way better. The quarterback at Georgia has been Kirby Smart's Achilles heel. He had Fields there, and he couldn't make it happen with him. He goes off and he plays for a national title. And now I guess you got Gunnar Stockton coming into play, and now I hear they're in play for Caleb Williams.
I've heard that Caleb Williams is going to Southern Cal, but I don't
think
know.
that's where he's going to, because that's what he said he was at last night. He was in Los Angeles,
right.
But there is Georgia fans out there saying that Georgia is talking to him about coming. And it's just strange because they have a 5-star kid already on campus. They got another 5-star kid coming on campus, with Gunnar Stockton. When is Kirby going to go with, a guy that he recruits?
I mean, and look, with Kirby Smart's record with quarterbacks, and I know people are going to say it's the offensive coordinator that does all of that and the development and everything else. But the reality is it comes back to this. Kirby Smart has a horrible history with that. And I don't understand why quarterbacks that are highly thought of say, you know what? I want to be the first one to go to Georgia and win with Kirby Smart. Not necessarily win just games, but I'm talking about get over the hump. None of them have been able to do that. So
I mean, they're great recruiters. They whatever they're selling these kids, they're buying it.
Right, I agree.
I mean, these kids are lapping it up. Looking at the Clemson recruiting class, do you now think that there's going to be more? I mean, I heard you say that Trevor Etienne was coming to Clemson. I didn't think he was going to come. I didn't think he wanted to play in his brother's shadow.
If you follow the blog page, he committed to Florida. So
yeah,
there's
Florida.
He's going to head
I
down there.
Didn't think he was going to come to Clemson anyway.
It's just a guess. Who knows with these young men? They can decide and change at the drop of a hat.
But I do think Sweeney gets between 6 and 8 recruits to sign for him during the signing period.
Well,
he's got to.
He's got to hit the transfer portal. He's got to find the right folks. They did offer an offensive lineman from Louisiana that played for the Raging Cajuns. So I don't know. Maybe he's softening up on that, but there is talent in the transfer portal, proven talent, not talent that you have to develop, guys that you can plug in and will play. And Sweeney's got to understand that. And if he doesn't, I know this sounds crazy, but the way college football is going, those who don't adapt don't survive. And we'll talk later on, and 10 years down the line. Remember that time when Tabo Sweeney was winning all those games? Yeah, then the NIL came and the transfer portal came, and he didn't adapt. He has to adapt if he wants to keep Clemson where they are.
And I have a question: Can a kid that signed with the team in the early transfer, the early part of can he opt out of that?
I don't know. I think once they sign, they have to wait, but we'll see. I have to check on that. I'll get some
because North Carolina had a lot of defensive kids to go there. Now it seems like they are just, they're throwing the defense out in North Carolina, and bringing in Gene Chizik, which is a great guy that you want your kid around.
Yeah. What a mess.
Yeah.
Good point, sir. By the way, I wanted to put this out there while you're on the phone with me. LaVon Kirkland, Clemson Ring of Honor member, 6-time Pro Bowler, I believe it is.
Yeah.
Is going to join us live on the show on Friday. We're going to talk about the NFL playoffs. So looking forward to LaVon's going to be in studio with us. So
mentioned the NFL. What do you think about Brian Flores getting fired? After 3 winning seasons.
The Dolphins are stupid. That's basically what it boils down to.
It makes no sense. He's just now really learning what you got to do to be a head coach.
Well,
and they want to jettison him.
Not
for Jim Harbaugh.
There's only 7 playoff spots in the NFL. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's that. That's just the way that it is. And if you don't get into the playoffs, there's 31 teams in the NFL, 32, whatever it is. 32 teams in the NFL. There's only 7 spots in the NFC, 7 spots in the AFC.
Yeah.
You gotta give guys time. You really, really do. And it seemed like there were times the Dolphins were finally starting to get it. But they lack on the offensive line, which has kind of damaged the development of Tua Tagovailoa. If I were coming in there as a new general manager, the first thing I would do would be a lot of draft picks on that offensive line. I would go and find the best left tackle, or actually right tackle, because Tua Tagovailoa is left-handed, to protect his backside and get him some time to actually develop where he can actually have a minute to throw the ball.
Do you think Harbaugh gets an NFL job this year?
Well, I think he's going to stay at Michigan.
He wants it.
I don't know.
He's going to stay at Michigan.
I think he does.
To hear it, his wife doesn't like it, and the family doesn't like it either.
Yeah, but they're not the ones that has to go. Look at the NFL. You mentioned Flores. Flores had 3 winning seasons. Get out. You're fired. So it may. And Harbaugh's made enough money that it doesn't really matter, I guess.
The money doesn't matter to him. But it seemed like he had more success with the 49ers than he did in college. Seems like he's more of that kind of a coach.
We shall see. Maybe he'll. He had a great season this year.
He did have a good season.
Let's be honest, but a lot of that talent that's on that team is going to go.
And Michigan, going this year, yeah.
And Michigan could be 8-4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man. Listen to you tomorrow talking about the big Alabama win.
All right, buddy. Have a great day. All right. Quick break. When we come back, I've got some stats for you, ladies and gentlemen, about this matchup with Alabama and Georgia. We'll have those for you in just a moment. This is The Rundown. You're on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Yeah, my show is like in the middle of the day, and they're talking about syndicating the program and moving it up to 2 hours. So we'll see. B Bean's got a good point. Why would he want to compete with his brother's legacy at Clemson? Yeah, I don't like. Kevin's already been in the NFL. Does he really want to do that? I don't know. Welcome back to the rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. JetMech Online mentions about the fact that maybe Lane Kiffin could be going to the NFL. That's one of the rumors there from Pro Football Focus, saying there's been consistent chatter from Brad Spielberger. Says there's been consistent chatter from many corners of football circles about Ole Miss head coach Lane Kiffin. Would he go and take over the job at Minnesota? We shall see. That could be interesting. So we'll get into that a little bit later on, but I want to focus on some stats I've got here for the national championship game. Let's start with former Clemson defensive back Darion Kendrick, who is now basically one of the studs for the Georgia secondary there. This guy might be the most valuable transfer for the season. He started every game, didn't allow a touchdown, was named second team all SEC from the coaches, and won defensive MVP of the Orange Bowl with 2 interceptions. He was also the only Georgia defender targeted in coverage against Jamison Williams in the SEC championship game, who managed to hold him without a catch. They're going to need Darion Kendrick to have that kind of night. Let's go out to the phones.
Oh.
Welcome into the rundown. Good afternoon. Hello. Hello. Welcome to the rundown. All right. Well, call back 803-978-1832. Another interesting stat. The Georgia, of course, we've talked a little bit about how they've got to get to Bryce Young. Auburn is a defense that is not as good as the Georgia defense. Auburn managed to stay in that game with Alabama due to the fact that they had 7 sacks. Here's another stat. First of all, the Georgia defense is better than the Auburn defense. It's not even remotely close. But Alabama has allowed more sacks this season at 37. 37 total sacks than they did in 2019 and 2020 combined, a grand total of 31. So I think that for Georgia to win, they've got to rush the quarterback. And you can make an argument that the scheme is what kind of screwed them in the championship game for the SEC championship game. I thought that was an interesting stat. More sacks this year in 37 than in 2019 and 2020 combined for Alabama. The offensive line for Alabama has legitimately struggled this year. They're giving up an average of 3 sacks a game at that pace there. But they managed to be keep Young remarkably clean against Alabama. So there's your interesting stat. Blake says the game Bama played at Auburn had twice as many fans as any game Cincinnati played all year. Lots of hate there for Cincinnati. Let's go back out to the phones. Welcome into the rundown. Good afternoon.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. I just had to can I just put my 2 cents in the championship game?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'm a dog fan. I hope we do win. But you know how this game normally goes. But can we both agree that now Georgia really has solidified themselves as another premier team? Like, of course, Alabama. For 10 years now, everybody's talking about Alabama. But now, when you talk about the top team to beat, you have to put Georgia in there. You have to say Alabama in Georgia. Like, Alabama in Georgia is now the team to beat in college football, and not just Alabama.
Well, look, Georgia's a good program. I'm not saying they're not a good program, but they're not as consistent as Alabama is. If you want to say they're an SEC team that's consistently at the top, yeah, we can go with that.
Oh yeah, but just look at the last 4 years.
Sure.
The last 4 years, like it's pretty much been like if whoever win against Alabama and Georgia in the SEC championship, etc., they're the best team. Of course, you have Clemson. They got there a couple of years, but you know Clemson has a chance just to drift off in the win or be just a good team. But Georgia has been consistently right there with Alabama, and just looking at the near future, I don't think none of us will be surprised if Alabama and Georgia will face off again, not in just the SEC championship, but another national championship in the next couple of years.
Well, Georgia has the easiest route because they play in the SEC East, and currently Auburn is a gong show right now as their permanent cross-conference partner. So they're at the SEC East right now is just not very formidable. I mean, let's just be honest with what we've got there. Kentucky's played pretty good, but it's kind of interchangeable. You don't have what they have in the West. So Georgia winning the East is not that far-fetched. So I can buy that. I think we'll see a lot of them in Atlanta over the next 4 to 5 seasons. Seriously. Anything else, caller?
Oh, that's it. That's all I had to say, man. I love your show, man, and Happy New Year to you, brother.
Thank you, man. We appreciate it. All right. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Some interesting stats on the quarterbacks for tonight's game. We'll have those for you in just a moment. This is The Rundown. You're listening to Fox Sports Radio 1400. Baylor, man, I think that Bennett is like Bennett is done. I think he's out of eligibility, I believe. I don't know for sure. Hey, I talked to Jackpot. We are going to do a live stream tonight. So if you'd like to check us out on that, we're going to do a live stream together tonight. Oh, he's got another year? Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, if you're Bennett, and good point. David's got a great point. The We Hate Both Teams live stream. Way to go, Dave. Yeah, if Bennett wins tonight, and then obviously we'll talk about this as we go along here, but if Bennett wins tonight, he has to start next season, right? Right? I mean, come on. Yeah, we are going to take calls tonight during the live stream. So if you want to call up and complain or you can call up and mock both teams, whatever you want. We'll have that. So if you'd like to get in on the live stream tonight, Kale and I will be doing it. So, and trust me, we're going to be mocking whoever loses because our teams aren't in it. So, Baylor, man, my fanship was bought for charity. So I will be rooting for Alabama tonight. Thank you to the pediatric NICU. They're going to be accepting the money that I got from the super chats last night to help out down there with the NICU. So I am cheering for Alabama. I don't know anything about Alabama other than Nick Saban's there. So there's that. Back out to the phones we go. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That is the number to call if you'd like to join us here on the rundown as we preview the national championship game tonight. Here's an interesting set of stats. Stetson Bennett is fourth nationally in pass efficiency, second in yards per attempt, and total QBR. That means the stats show he's better than Bryce Young on all three of those. Yeah. He is fourth nationally in pass efficiency, second in yards per attempt, and total QBR. So just looking at stats, he has played better than Bryce Young on all those accounts. I think that people look at him and they think, all right, he's shorter than the average quarterback. And that's why he may not get the respect he deserves. But he's not a world-changing quarterback. He is most efficient when the Georgia Bulldogs can run the football. 6 of his 13 interceptions over the past couple of seasons have come in Georgia's 3 losses. 5 of those 6 came with the Bulldogs trailing in the second half, including the debacle in last year's loss in Tuscaloosa, where he attempted 40 passes and a game-changing pick 6 in the last month's meeting in Atlanta, where he attempted 48. If Stetson Bennett throws the ball more than 35 times, Alabama's going to win. Here's some other stats. Per Pro Football Focus, he was pressured 15 times against the Tide, sacked 3, and went 1 for 10 for 11 yards and an INT on pressured attempts. In the other 11 starts this season, here's where Bennett's is best. The Bulldogs have led by double digits after halftime for all but 6 plays. When they're put into a spot where he has to throw the ball, 3rd and 8, etc., it doesn't go very well. It's not like he was Justin Herbert last night, who faced a big set of 4th and 10. I think he had like 5 4th and 10s that he converted in the fourth quarter, something on one drive. Stetson Bennett's not that kind of quarterback. He's not the guy that can do that. But what Stetson Bennett does well is if the rest of the team can do what they're supposed to do. Hello, Georgia running backs. They have to control the game from that front, and they've got to hit Bryce Young to the tune of what Auburn did. I guarantee you, if they get 7 sacks, then Georgia's going to win by double digits. They do what Auburn did to them, they're going to win by double digits. But they have the personnel to do that. Let's make sure that we put that out there. They absolutely 100% have the personnel that can get to the quarterback. The question is that are they going to sit there and think, you know what, we're too smart for the room, and we're going to try this and try to drop back into coverage and not really pressure Bryce Young and let him pick them apart like he did in Atlanta. Simplicity is key here. Stop trying to make it seem like you're the absolute one of the best defensive coaches in the country, which Kirby Smart is. Hopefully he'll go back to, you know what? I've recruited like a madman, and I've gotten a ton of guys that are on this defensive line that are really good. And I'm going to line up with them, and we're going to play man-on-man with Alabama because we have the men to do it. We've got a guy in Darion Kendrick who is a lockdown corner, second-team All-SEC. Just picked off 2 passes in the Orange Bowl. We're going to put him on an island. And we're going to say point blank with the rest of the secondary. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to go up to that Alabama offensive line who has been suspect the majority of the season. 37 sacks this year. There you go with that. Go and line up with them and say, you know what? We're going to knock you on your butt because we have the guys to do it. Stop trying to be a prima donna and my scheme is so much better and I am a master. No. Football's won in the trenches. Go and hit that quarterback. Make Bryce Young beat you that way. There were games for Alabama this season where Bryce Young looked like he didn't want to run. He really didn't. He looked like, I'll just, I'm not going to take off. There needs to be havoc in that backfield. Realistic, just insanity in that backfield. He needs to get touched every play. If Georgia wants to win, and they have the people to do it, don't come at me with, we don't have the guys to do that. They do. They absolutely do. RMF Todd says, go ahead and play, man. We'll throw the slant. Yeah, I know that. They need to change it up a little bit, though. They need to hit him. Got to hit him. It's just the way that it is. 37 sacks this season, more than the last 2 seasons combined for Alabama. That's their sweet spot. Got to hit them right there. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Jimmy says the Muschamp defense will get them killed. Okay. I think there's a lot of Gamecock fans that are rooting against Georgia tonight so that Will Muschamp doesn't get a second ring or a second national championship ring. Actually, I think he's got 2. He's got one with Texas, one with LSU, right? This will be his 3rd national championship ring. A lot of Gamecock fans rooting against him. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That is the number to call. Blake says maybe he's less likely to run after winning the Heisman. He's coming back next season. He's got to play next season. So there's that. Anyway, those are the numbers that I pulled that make the most sense as far as for Alabama and Georgia. Love to take your calls, 803-978-1832. David says Becky Lynch is defending the championship tonight. Might be more fun to watch, and that's fake. I don't know who she's wrestling. Who is Becky Lynch wrestling? I like Becky Lynch. Why not? More of the rundown in just a moment. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400. Look, I think that I think that it's going to be I picked Alabama to win, but I wouldn't be shocked if Georgia won. Well, see, I have my hopes up, David. If she's actually wrestling, I'm after it. Hold on, man. Blake, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the curling. Fan of the curling. Like ice skate, ice shuffleboard, basically. I like it. There were a slew of Alabama fans. They won by like $60. So yeah. And I'm not taking any of the money. I'm giving it to charity. I'm giving it to the NICU here at Prisma Health. Hockey. You got hockey too. Welcome back to the rundown. Out to the phones we go. Welcome into the show.
Hey, Big Barney Ross here. I just want to know, have you seen where they've hired Mark Stoops' brother for the linebackers coach?
For where at Kentucky?
Kentucky.
Yeah, of course. Nepotism.
Yeah, you're right. And it was confusing before. And I've been saying this all along. Georgia needs to play their normal first half, go in with the lead, and when they come out, take a play out of Mark Stoops' playbook. Get that ball on offense. Let your defense rest, and just go down, get you a first down, get penalized, back up, first down, just keep the ball for the 15, 20 minutes, and then score late. They should be able to pull it out. I call that a prevent offense. And Lane Kiffin is in a war of words with Hugh Freeze over a recruit. And if you ain't seen that, you look that up. It is absolutely awesome. Big Barney Ross, I'm out. Go Georgia. Georgia Bulldogs, go Georgia. We're rooting for you. We hope you pull this out. Nobody wants to see Alabama win. Not again. And no more Aflac commercials. Come on. Barney Ross, I'm out.
All right,
have
brother.
a good one.
Appreciate you calling the program. Yeah, I don't know where to go with that, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. By the way, we're going to have the Ravi Awards. Those are coming up in June. What does that mean? We're going to have give out awards to the best caller throughout the year, best commenter, best follow on Twitter, and the best sports stories. Right after the College World Series wraps up, we will have the Ravi Awards. Winners will get, I'm getting t-shirts printed for you guys. Seriously. So when you call, make sure that you come up with something valid. You want to make sure that you are someone who catches everyone's ear when you call at 803-978-1832. Make sure when you comment with something that is worthwhile. Yeah, we'll have all that for you. The Ravi Awards coming up once the College World Series wraps. 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832. That is the number to dial if you'd like to join us here on the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Of course, around the world on the iHeartRadio app. Folks getting jacked up for the game tonight. Someone sent me a text where there were a bunch of Georgia fans in an Indianapolis steakhouse, and they got one of their Georgia chants going, and apparently the police were called. Can you imagine if Georgia actually wins? They may burn Indianapolis to the ground. Just saying. That may happen. The fan base that needs it most is that Georgia Bulldogs fan base. Seriously. Not saying they're going to win. Just saying they probably need it the most. Motivated Dedicated says the Gumps won't score more than 14. Okay, well, the quote-unquote Gumps, they lit that Georgia defense up like a Christmas tree in Atlanta. I don't think 600 miles is going to make a difference. I guess they're going to have to walk through some snow. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I really kind of believe that. We'll see, though. Over-under is like at 53.5, something like that. One of the tougher games to figure out on that front. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Blake says the Kiffin Freeze tweets he took more as joking around versus a feud. Dr. Berto says, I hate the Georgia fan base. That's not true. That is absolutely not true. There are tons of Georgia fans that I think are good folks. I don't have a problem with begging Megan, even though he's a dope. I don't have a problem with who else over there? Tennille's great. Allen's over there. He's a dedicated fan. I mean, I can't help that he says silly things. I don't have any dislike towards the fan base. There are a good section of people that don't like the Alabama fans, and I think that's with any fan base. I do think that the fan base that'll act up the most is if Georgia wins tonight. You know, they burn couches. They used to burn couches in West Virginia. I don't know what they're going to burn in Georgia. I really, really don't know. They're going to burn something, though. Absolutely going to burn something. And you know what? When you've been struggling as much to get over that hump as Georgia has, and you can legitimately say that Georgia, since 1980, has had at least, 3, 4, I don't know, 5 teams that had a legitimate shot at winning a national title. And they haven't done it. They're the fan base that kind of wants it the most. Let's go out to the phones, 803-978-1832. Welcome into the program. Good afternoon.
We ain't gonna have to worry about Georgia burning anything. Nothing.
Right. Well, I've gotten texts about you, Hollywood. Just want to make sure that you're on board with this.
Oh, I'm on board.
Well, let me finish, sir. Calm down now.
Okay,
one
go
text that said Georgia is guaranteed to win because Hollywood picked against them.
Okay.
Hey, that's what I've gotten that from a text from 2 folks. Just
they
saying.
Were guaranteed to win, and December the 4th too, right? I went against them.
You were 1-13 on the season, sir.
Sir, big game. I won the big one. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, so it all boils down to that. Just saying.
Yes, sir. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great.
Do you have an Alabama hat?
No.
Do you have an Alabama T-shirt?
No.
Well, you're a crappy Alabama fan. You're up here talking about Alabama's going to win. We need to get you.
I'm pulling for Alabama.
Well, we'll get we'll get you an Alabama hat. Maybe an Alabama tank top that's bedazzled that says Hollywood on the front and Roll Tide on the back. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna end this tonight happy. My coach got fired today, so I lost 2 coaches in 1 year. This fire was stupid.
Which one? The Flores?
Yeah, Brian Flores.
Yeah, well,
I didn't see that coming.
I didn't see that coming either. But
no doubt,
we need to get you a bedazzled tank top if Alabama wins. You can run around screaming Roll Tide.
No, I'm gonna roll some Tide. I got toilet paper and I got washing powder. I'm gonna roll it, baby.
Fair enough, Hollywood.
Appreciate I can't wait for them Bulldog fans.
Oh, they're gonna be funny. They're gonna be funny.
Oh,
we'll see if they lose.
Fun.
If they lose, they'll be funny.
Better find Bacon Megan somewhere. He on suicide watch.
He's laughing at you. I hope you know that.
I mean, he's staying off the phone. I haven't heard him.
You're 1-13, dude. He doesn't really want to hurt your feelings anymore. You got kicked in the face 13 times.
He is a scared man right now. He is scared, along with the rest of them Bulldog fans.
They might be. We'll see tonight. Kickoffs at 8. Thank you, Hollywood.
No doubt.
All right, there you go. I admire Hollywood. He's literally been kicked in the face 13 times by Georgia this year. He got 1 correct. 1 time he was correct, and that's what he's leading with. Way to go, Hollywood. That's like the old theory. If you walk up in a bar to 100 women and you tell all 100 of them, hey, let's just avoid all this other stuff. We're just going to head straight to the bedroom. One of them is going to work, and then he gets slapped 80 times. Hollywood is that guy. He got popped 13 times out of 14, but that one time he was right. I admire him for continuing to call the program. That's the kind of thing that might win you Caller of the Year. We'll see. 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832. That is the number to dial if you'd like to join us here on the Rundown. Alan said now it's a guaranteed victory. Baylor Man says the one time he got right was, wait for it, the last time Georgia played the Gumps. I mean, he didn't really have to go out on a limb there. Oh, poor Hollywood. And he mentioned he's a Miami fan. And his like sports life sucks right now. Florida was terrible. Miami's terrible. I mean, the other thing he needs to be now is, I guess, in baseball, he could be like a fan of, I don't know, the Royals. That's funny. Oh, man. All right, well, we're looking forward to the game tonight. Don't forget, Lawton Swan of Clemson Sports Talk is next. He is the czar of Clemson Sports. Be sure to check him out. He'll have everything you need to know about Clemson.
Stop looking at me, Swan.
Follow him on Twitter at Clemson Sports. I'm on Twitter at Rob Sounds Good. And kickoff tonight just after 8 o'clock. So we're looking forward to that. As the national championship game, we put a wrap on the college football season. Kind of sad because after tonight, we're all going to be jacked up and waiting for July. Come on, let's go. Let's get spring practice underway. It's kind of the way it works. All right, well, as always, I appreciate you guys joining us on the program, as now we get to wrap up the season tonight. We'll have the full reaction tomorrow on the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. You guys are awesome. By the way, later tonight, thanks, Baylor Man. Go do a live stream, myself, Carolina Jackpot. If you don't like either team, you can show up for our live stream. If you want to come in and just watch us just make fun of people, which we're going to do, you can do that on the live stream tonight. We'll start probably 8 o'clock or so. All right, appreciate you guys. Look forward to seeing you tonight.